You're an optimist. I feel like this time of year I should be asking you what's keeping you up at night, since you seem, I think, to be relatively, I'd say optimistic about the future.
Everybody's worried about the same thing. Are we going to go into a deep recession here caused by an overreaction of Fed policy because they didn't understand that transitory meant like 18 months instead of 3 months? And are they going to essentially give us all chemotherapy and, where the treatment will be, as bad as the disease? I mean, that's what keeps everybody up. When you look at these numbers, with three-quarters of the people being unhappy with the economy, it means companies have to show that they can deliver value-oriented, products, that they can provide, discounts and sales, that people like. That it shifts the whole advertising and marketing too, from what you do in a growth economy to having to take market share and being somewhat more competitive in terms of the way you market and understand things. So I think those are all the things in the short term. We just don't know whether the short term is going to turn into the long term, but that will be the topic of the September debates.
Let me end by going full circle back to politics, because tough times tend to be an opportunity for people to appeal to our baser instincts or our fears. Is that the extremism that we've seen, if that's the right way to put it, is that likely to continue? Do you think that's, again, in your experience, going into what's going to be a very competitive, political season again, how likely is it that we will see the types of extremism, frankly, that have characterized the last few campaigns?
Well, I guess as the eternal optimist, I think this campaign actually will be a turn away from extremism, a turn towards, government by people who know how to govern, and consequently, I think that the winners of the debates that start in September and that political season are likely actually to be ones that put extremism aside. Now, each party will call the other person extreme no matter what they are. But
What?
I do think this is about the return to the center.
It's because we've just been too burned by what is it that makes you think we're going back to the center? That's not conventional wisdom.
Well, because A, it's where most of the voters are. B, I think we've seen the voters reject both the extremism of the squad and the Marjorie Taylor Greene extremism as well. So I think we've seen in the rejection of the Trump candidates, and I don't think the rejection of the Trump candidates was a hugging of the Democratic left. Quite the opposite. It says the center is where the country is, and I do think this notion of, wow, this job's pretty complex now in a time of turbulent foreign affairs and a difficult economic situation. Maybe we really need somebody, who's more level-headed, who we can count on, who's a strong